I have been pretty negative recently when it comes to DC Comics, but I think it's very important that you call out the bad books, and it's also equally important that you praise the good books, so that's what I'm doing today, because Action Comics has been amazing, and if you want good comics, you gotta mention the good ones, you gotta praise the good ones, so let's talk about Action Comics. So we just had this big, huge event on Warworld that ended that was really good, and if you want to know about what's been going on with Superman recently and why he was on Warworld and everything, I made a video on it a couple months ago. I'll link it here, I don't remember which corner it pops up on, but go watch that video if you want to recap, because I'm not going to be talking about that here, but it was really good. Maybe it went on for an issue or two longer than it needed to, but overall I really enjoyed it, and now Clark is back in Metropolis with Action Comics 1047, and this issue is fantastic. I highly recommend you go get it and read it. While Superman Son of Kal-el is not very good, we do have a good Superman book, Action Comics. That's something that I noticed with a couple people on my in the comments of my last video were talking about, man, this sucks. I hate having John as Superman. Where's Clark? Read Action Comics. It's really sad that DC is not promoting Action Comics because it's really good and it is Clark Kent Superman. But on top of that, what's really weird is Superman Son of Kal-el, DC has said themselves, is their premier Superman book. Like, that is the Superman books. Action Comics is the secondary Superman book. And you can tell that by the advertising and the promotion, because DC is constantly promoting Superman Son of Kal-el. It's everywhere. Tom Taylor's getting interviews on CNN constantly. But what's interesting is the latest issues, Superman in Action Comics outsold Superman Son of Kal-el. I believe in the when it came to like the top 100 like best-selling comics, Action Comics, the newest issue that came out in August, was at number 55, and Superman Son of Kal-el was at 82. Now, Superman books should be top 25. If DC was doing things right, they should be top 25. Like, it's really stupid that they're not. But that being said, considering Action Comics gets no advertising at all and Superman Son of Kal-el is constantly being pushed, the fact that Superman Son of Kal-el is not like top 75 or top 50 is really sad. But Action Comics, with getting no advertising, was 55, so I was very surprised with that, but I was happy. It should be higher up, but hey, that's very interesting to me. So anyways, let's get into Action Comics 1047. The issue opens up with Metallo in Stryker's Island, and his sister is visiting him, and Philip Kennedy Johnson actually gets you to feel sorry for Metallo. You actually feel a little bit sorry for him, because he's on Stryker's Island, and he's just not really all there, because he's just like half of his robot body, and they have him hooked up to like a monitor to where he can talk through text, but he can't actually speak, and like he can't move anything in the robot body. He's got like one eye on. It's really sad, and his sister is kind of having a breakdown seeing him like this, and she's so sad for him, and she's talking to him about some childhood memories and how she feels so bad for him, and she visits him every week, and it actually makes you feel sympathy for Metallo, which is something new, because generally Metallo's just kind of a dickhead and you don't really feel sorry for him. So I liked how that went on. And also we have Ricardo Federici back for this issue of Action Comics. He did some of the Warworld saga, and he is so good. I love the way he draws Superman. Anyways, after that, we get some criminals in Metropolis causing mayhem until Superman shows up, and it is a great reintroduction for Superman into Metropolis. You have these criminals causing mayhem, blowing stuff up, and then you see a guy just like having a joyride while he's causing all this mayhem, talking to his buddy, and then suddenly his buddy stops talking. He's like, wait, where'd he go? He's like, oh crap, it's Super, and you see Superman's silhouette in the background, and I just love it. It's so perfectly done. It's just a great reintroduction for Superman into Metropolis. We then get a nice moment of Superman saving a family on a bridge, and he reassures the kids they're going to be okay, and it's just a nice little moment. Seeing Superman be heroic and saving people never gets old. After all that, Superman makes an appearance at the UN, because he has to explain why Warworld is orbiting Earth, and that nothing bad is going on. So he shows up there with the Superman family, and something that I love seeing here is included in the Superman family is Steel and Connor Kent. I love that, because those two guys kind of get left out, especially lately. Like, they used to be a big part of the Superman family, and then they kind of get left out. DC kind of disregard them, so I was happy to see them just show up. They don't really do anything, but they're there, and it's nice that they're included and not forgotten about. So Superman makes an appeal to the UN, talking to them, saying, hey, these people have had their homes taken from them. They were taken away and made slaves and had to fight on Warworld, and I'm here to try to help them get back to their homes. And some of them also don't even have homes and want to make Earth their home. So I'm going to try to help them with that. And he also talks about how he believes in humanity and that he believes they will accept these people just like they accepted him. And I like seeing that because that's something that's an integral to Clark's character, is his optimism, sometimes to a detriment even. And I really love seeing that, especially because Tom Taylor has made John, his son, the opposite. You see that John doesn't believe in humanity, is very much like people are bad and they're horrible, and why do they do all these things? Like you see that in issue 2 of Superman Son of Kal-El when he's talking to Clark. He's talking about how like horrible humanity is and how he could fix everything, and it's just it's just not Superman. So to see Clark here like bring all these people here, not just and not be like, oh, I bet all the people of Earth are xenophobic and are gonna hate him and everything's gonna be horrible. No, he talks about how he believes in the people of Earth and he believes they'll accept him and that these people will have a new great life on Earth. I love seeing that. I love seeing Clark be optimistic. Superman also mentions that they have some advanced technology on Warworld that he believes could be implemented to help Earth, specifically with clean energy, and John Henry Irons and Natasha Irons and Star Labs are going to help with that. And that's just a cool little thing because you have comics that try to do like pro-environmental stuff and like it kind of feels out of place and weird, especially like for instance when that cover came out with Superman Son of Kal-El, where it was just John walking around with a sign being like, hey guys, you stop this whole thing with stop climate change, this stuff's going bad right now. And it's like, you're the son of Superman, you have so many connections, why is climate change like a part of the DC universe? Of course in our world, it's not the greatest thing, but it should be solved in that universe with all those like super smart people and superpowers. It doesn't make sense, and it's kind of weird for John to just be holding a sign when he could do much more. Granted, that was just a cover, but still, it was really weird and stupid. To where here you have something cool where Superman went, saved people, like overthrew a dictator, ended slavery on a planet, and he also got clean energy for Earth in the process. It's like, it's cool. It wasn't like here's this entire storyline about Superman protesting climate change or something. It was I like how that was implemented. It's like, it's really interesting to see two different storytellers and how one does it much better than another. And of course, while this broadcast is going on of the UN, Lex Luthor is watching, and he mentions that there's something called Project Blackout that this could be affected by, and we don't know what Project Blackout is. As far as I know, I don't think Project Blackout has ever been mentioned before, so this is something new that we don't know about that Lex is concocting. And so he decides, while the entire Superman family is busy at the UN conference, he is going to he's going to go to Warworld. So he sends one of his he remote controls one of his suits to Warworld. He goes there, and we get like just exactly what you think Lex Luthor would do going to Warworld. I'm going to read this panel to really set it up for you guys. Well, a couple panels. Lex visits Warworld, and he says, so this is Warworld. Look at these poor imbeciles. Everywhere Superman goes, the sheep trample each other for the chance to nuzzle his hand. This would be Earth by now if not for me. That's Lex Luthor. That's how he sees things, and I love it. That is a great characterization of Lex Luthor. He goes to a planet where Superman overthrew a dictator and freed slaves, and all he sees is people that want to be Superman and worship him and can't think for themselves, and just immediately sees the worst because he hates Superman. I love it because he sees like people with the Superman flags, people that were inspired by them. It's like, oh, look at this hero worship and how horrible it is. Great. That is Lex Luthor. I love so far how Philip Kennedy Johnson has written Lex Luthor. This is great. While on Warworld, Lex is talking to himself and talking about how he has a mutual friend with Superman that has been spying on him and keeping him up to date with what Superman was doing on Warworld. Now, I don't know who this is. This is obviously just a tease. Who is this person? The only person I could think of maybe is OMAC. That's the only one that I could think of who was on Warworld with Superman that could possibly be spying on Superman. Anyone else? I don't think so. Unless, because I don't see Manchester Black spying on Superman. Like, I don't really see anyone else, because Manchester Black's the only other person, maybe, because he was a bad guy, but I don't see him working for Lex. Like, so I don't know. I don't know who it is, but OMAC is my first go-to. Who knows? That'll be revealed later who was spying on Superman for Lex. But we got that plot thread revealed, and he also finds some stuff that he believes can help him with Metallo. After this, we cut to a great moment with Clark and Lois, where Lois says essentially what every fan of John Kent has been saying since he got aged up. Because when Clark was on Warworld, there were these two kids that he took care of, and they don't have any family or a home world to go back to, really. So he took them in, and they've been living with him and Lois since he got back to Earth. And Lois says, I'm really glad they're here. It's been nice having them in the house. I still have mornings when I wake up and put on coffee, and I expect John to run in wearing his little hoodie, going for the Nutella like he used to. When he's not with me, his age shifts up and down in my mind, like all our memories together are happening all at once. Yeah, it's really sad, and that's exactly how you expect her to, react to her son being aged up by several years, because he went from 11 to 17. Like, just, wow, that's exactly how you think parents would react, because it was weird. When Bendis did it, they kind of have one issue where they're like, oh, wow, you're old now, John. John's like, yeah, but this is how it is, and they're like, okay, and then it's kind of not really handled or mentioned after that. It was really weird, because you think parents would freak out for their losing several years of their kid's life. Like, you think they would freak out about that, but no, they kind of just like, this stuff just happens, and that was it. So I like having I like having Clark and Lois talk about John here and how it is weird, and that it's, they're still not fully over that, because as parents you think you wouldn't be over that. It's weird, but I really like this moment, and it's great, and it's a fantastic moment between Clark and Lois and seeing how they love each other. And I love the way Philip Kennedy Johnson writes these two. Their relationship is handled very well, especially compared to how some other writers like Bendis handled it, to where it seemed like they didn't really care for each other that much, and it seemed like Clark was very much just like simping for Lois, while Lois wanted nothing to do with him, was just focusing on her career. Here, there actually feels like mutual love, and they like each other. I really like that. Also, the way it's drawn is so good. Riccardo Federici nails it. I love the reds and everything. Like, it's just a beautiful page. And then the issue ends with Lex going to visit Metallo on Stryker's Island, giving a whole speech about his talents are being wasted, being treated horribly in prison, and Metallo on the monitor, how he speaks, it just says, get out, get out, get out. He wants nothing to do with Lex. He's been used and abused by Lex before. He doesn't want him, but Lex just gives him this whole speech and then places down an orphan box, so implying he's going to use that to help Metallo get back to his former glory, and that's where the issue ends. So that was a fantastic issue. I loved it. If you read it, let me know in the comments below what you think about it. If you haven't read it, please go read it. If you want good comics, if you want good Superman comics, Action Comics has been amazing. It is so good, and I'm really excited to see what Philip Kennedy Johnson does next year. It's going to be interesting because it's tying into an event with Superman Son of Kal-El called like Kal-El Returns or Return of Kal-El, something like that. So I'm not sure how that's going to be tying into an event with Tom Taylor, because he's not the best, but yeah, that's how these things go sometimes. Sometimes you have to do an event with a not so great writer. But Tom Taylor, as Deceased proves, can tell a good story. He just generally doesn't. So maybe with this, Philip Kennedy Johnson can kind of draw a good story out of him. Maybe he'll see how good Philip Kennedy Johnson is doing, and it'll maybe like make him turn on a light bulb and be like, maybe I should start telling a good story here instead of just making John annoying as can be and telling really horrible stories where nothing happens that go at a snail's pace. Maybe that'll happen. Who knows? I'm trying to be optimistic here. But anyways, that's basically it. Again, I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. Please let me know what you think of this, what's going on with Superman, because we're about to have, in a couple months, we're going to have issue 1050, which is a landmark issue for Superman. It's an oversized issue. It's going to have Philip Kennedy Johnson, Tom Taylor, and Joshua Williamson all writing it. There's like 26 variant covers. Some huge stuff supposed to happen in that's supposed to alter the future for Superman. So it's going to be interesting to see what goes on. I'm really happy with Action Comics right now. It has been great. And again, if you want to know what's been like how we got to where we're currently at with Superman, I'll link it in the outro as well. I made a video on that a couple months ago. Check that out. And I also made a video just talking about what's been happening with John Kent. So I'll also link that in the outro if you want to check that out. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later.
Hey, skinny boy, saucy boy, I be running to the bank. Yeah, you know I hit the gas in the whip full tank. Riding past the ocean while I'm listening to Frank.